We have a rematch. Lionheart Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. Now, AJ, I've been hearing a lot of rumblings recently for this matchup, specifically talking about Anthony Smith, easy money, cash it. He destroyed Ryan Spann in the last fight, and he's just going to do it again. This is the easiest money I could ever make. And this is one where I do have to push back, because while I'm a big fan of Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann, as you've seen, I've been very high on Spann as of late. I just think both fighters have taken different career trajectories as of late. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%, Derek. Folks, if you're thinking this is an absolute lock for Anthony Smith, yeah, he's the Lionheart. Yeah, we've seen him do up and down in his last couple fights, and there's the reason exactly for that, folks. Ryan Spann is a new animal as well. This dude is on an absolute killer's row, especially after that Anthony Smith loss, man. He looked good against Jan Kuchelaba. He looked good against Dominic Reyes, even in the submission loss against Nikita Krylov. This guy is fighting his heart out. Spann is a warrior. I think he's going to give Anthony Smith a lot of trouble in there, especially in the stand-up in the range. Do you see the stand-up in the range kind of causing a lot of problems too, Derek, or you think this one's going to be a washing machine fight?
Best path to victory for Ryan Spann in this matchup specifically is to keep the fight on the feet, standing for as long as he possibly can. This is the problem that I see with Ryan Spann, and it's not a bad one. I think it's based on his career, man. He's got 15 first-round finishes. So when you have a finisher mindset, you're taking risks that some other people just simply wouldn't. For an example, the last fight against Nikita Krylov, right? It was a close fight. It was a back-and-forth fight. Ryan Spann, what does he love to do? The patented front choke, guillotines, all of the stuff that he likes to jump for, right? So when he found himself in that mix-em-up against Nikita Krylov, incredibly dangerous grappler, and there was those openings to just stand back up, disengage, and get back to basics, he instead said, I will re-engage and I will beat you at your own game. That's the problem when you're a dangerous striker who also has legit grappling chops. So in my opinion, if he can avoid grappling unnecessarily against Anthony Smith and maybe don't jump for as many front chokes, I think that this can be pretty easy work for Ryan Spann, given my question to you next. Don't you think that if Ryan Spann kind of took the Johnny Walker approach, he'd be much more successful? Like Johnny Walker, the patient Johnny Walker, where he just stands in the center and is just like, if you want it, you got to come on over here and catch this power. What do you think?
Could he be more successful doing that, Derek? 100%. This dude has the speed, the power, and the range to be able to get that done. Now, that only begs the question, will he do that, man? Will he do that? As a bettor, does it give you any pause, a little hesitancy to know that, especially in that last fight against Nikita Krylov, when he had the opportunity to stand up, when he had the opportunity to put the fight back in his ball court, he chose not to. He chose to beat Krylov at his own game. I kind of see the same similarities in this fight with Anthony Smith, man. You get Anthony Smith in a tussle up, he's going to find the more advantageous positions. Ryan Spann has had a history of not necessarily doing that. Do you think it's possible he will?
I think it's possible, but once again, that's not the question that you're asking. You're really asking, will he? And I think that legitimately, man, the reason that I have more confidence that he will fight smarter is because you've already lost to Anthony Smith. So you already know the feeling of like, all right, I went there. Now, could he take the approach of I'm going to double down and I'm really going to beat you at your game and embarrass you and all that? I hope not, especially because it wasn't just until a couple of fights ago where he said what? Oh, yeah, I actually train now, by the way. I wasn't really training before. You know what I mean? So it's like, Fortis MMA, Ryan Spann training, I like that all day long. And I do think that Anthony Smith, man, in all honesty, fantastic career run, but the last two losses to Ankalaev and to Johnny Walker have been pretty rough, man, and we've seen just kind of how debilitating those leg kicks can be. So I imagine Spann will probably try to target it a little bit. This is a fight right here, man. I do not hate Ryan Spann at minus 145. I actually think those are some pretty valuable odds, given that Smith normally would be a favorite since he won the last fight. Give me Ryan Spann, bro, and I actually do like that plus 190 TKO prop right there, man. I think that he'll be able to get it done. I think if he can keep the fight standing, I think he catches Anthony Smith. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I like your take, Derek, especially because in all open and honesty, folks, transparency over here, this is a very close fight, man. I had a lot of hard time deciding who I was going to be picking because Ryan Spann is that new type of animal. Hopefully he doesn't fall into his old ways, like you said, trying to beat Anthony Smith in his own game. I actually like Anthony Smith in this fight, though, man. He did have a rough time. He has been on kind of a skid, but with the Lionheart, man, with the dog he is, he's going to show up and fight. And having that little bit of air of confidence, knowing I wrecked this dude in our last fight, hopefully that ego doesn't go to his head and he's able to put the work on the mat. Give me Anthony Smith. Give me the submission, plus 375.
Imagine it happens again. Imagine it happens again, but you'd be like, this dude submitted me twice? Oh my gosh. All right, that is your co-main event, folks.